I gotta get more coffee.
Okay,
when do I do it?
I'm starting up the feed, everybody. Just
Oh my
letting you
God.
know. The feed is going now.
The
I can't
feed
believe
is
it.
live.
Hopefully, this is you're not seeing any more delay. But if you are, I don't know what to do with.
Wow.
Oh boy, should be seeing it now.
Hello? Hello, ciao. People say we
Okay.
have really great voices.
We do have really great voices. I can't believe this.
Wow.
Let's talk about video games. What do you say, guys?
Hello, ladies. In my lab coat.
Oh god, that was so funny. I was actually rolling on the floor laughing. That was a true ruffle right there.
All right, I gotta go get some more coffee.
That was hilarious. In my lab coat. All right. Woo!
You know what an underrated mount is?
Is this a joke? Because, I mean,
No.
it seems like it's a joke.
No.
Do you know what an underrated... What is it?
Do you want to know what an underrated is? The camels.
I hate
kind of
those
like
things.
them.
I
Just mounted, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cute.
I bought one, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then 5 seconds later, I'm like, yeah, I don't like it.
I mean, it's definitely not my favorite, but it is kind of neat. It's a novelty.
Right. Yeah, it's not my favorite. You know, I actually found the perfect mount for a Tauren anywhere in the game. Land mount.
What is it?
Mechanohog. Because
Yeah, I do enjoy riding my Mechanohog on the Tauren.
Wow.
That is my secondary ground mount of choice.
that's my primary, and especially when I go to Undercity, because that's the only way you can drive through the gate.
Because the main ground mount I always use is the Amani Warbear.
Oh, sure.
And that one is pretty bulky on a beef stick, so it doesn't really go through much.
Right.
I get stuck on a lot of things.
Right. Mm-hmm. What else is going on, chat room? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing great. I hope that the time change is weird, and I know that the clock on the calendar that is like right below me right now, that is off, and I plan on fixing it at some point, but not before the show, not just before the show. I didn't want to deal with it. I'm like, you know what? Fine, it can be wrong. I'll tweet the deets. That's all that I need to do. So.
Didn't we used to finish it around this time?
Yes.
So are we?
Back
how
in
are
the
we
day.
2 hours ahead? Oh, back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. By the way, Solar Flare, we will be revisiting the leading the raid thing from last week.
All right.
That.
We will be revisiting because I forgot one thing that I put it in the I put it in the notes.
But what were we talking about?
The Daves, the two Daves in the raid group.
The Daves.
They were causing problems.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That one. Yes.
Have you done the
Those
5
Daves.
stars yet?
No.
Okay, because I wasn't seeing it on my
iTunes is open, but then I got distracted looking at our rankings.
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah. You know, you should maybe let's do the show part. Let's do the show part of the show because it is 11:02.
I was gonna do it, but I get distracted looking at my own pecs. Excuse me. I got a mirror in here. Oh.
You shouldn't have switched to a panda. I'm telling you,
I
you
know.
are so much more of a blood elf.
That's right. Exactly. Get distracted looking at my own greatness. Yes. Yeah, you can't really do that as a panda, I'll tell you that.
Right.
Holy cow.
Okay. Oh, and
I dig it, though, man. I'm real happy to be a panda. I really dig it. I like the casting animations. I like all the flirts and the... Like, one of the great flirts from the panda was like, nice pants. When do they drop? Or no. It's, what's the drop rate?
Right.
That's funny.
I had that pickup line first.
Yes.
Excuse me.
You did.
That's true.
You did.
I did. So
Not
good on my-
not that it was particularly new when you did it.
No, it was new.
Who knows? It wasn't public when I did it.
It was not new when you did it.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I seem to claim a, you know, those, when you're sliding into first, you feel a sudden burst diarrhea.
Yeah,
I have claimed that I made up whoever denied supplied. You know, or no, what was the thing? It was whoever smelt it dealt it, you know those?
Yeah.
Well, I've claimed that I made up whoever denied supplied.
Well,
I made that up when I was like
well
8.
You should.
Right.
As
Did
well
we
you
leave
should.
off?
I claimed that
on
one when I was 8.
reviews?
What's that?
I need to know, guys. This is important. When did we leave off on the
2 weeks
5-star
ago.
reviews? Was
2
it?
weeks ago.
So that was
So-
the 21st. It was 2 weeks ago.
22nd, I think.
Well, no, it is the 21st. So that was
Oh.
2 weeks ago.
All right. That's fine. Yes.
Thank you.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just like...
Did anyone see the new Total Recall? Is there a scene where... Does that happen? Where he's like, 2 weeks.
Because, you know, I have a real problem with some of these movies that are coming out that try to kind of rekindle that magic that was the crappy
Right.
80s movie. The
What?
crappy 80s movie is like a... I love the crappy 80s movie. I love the crappy 80s movie. I just... So much cheese ballery to be had.
Well,
The crappy 80s movie.
nothing... A crappy 80s movie, that doesn't make sense. Nothing out of the 80s was crappy. First
Wait,
off.
hold on a sec. Did you ever see Rad?
Yes! Are you kidding?
When
That
he
was
does
classic!
when he does the friggin' backflip off the... Oh, man.
Off the cereal bowl? That was the send me an angel. Ooh, wow.
Right,
Send me
right.
an angel.
Right.
now. That's classic. It's the cereal bowl. It's BMX.
God.
Right now. Send me an angel.
So you're familiar with the crappy 80s movie. I love the
Dude.
crappy 80s movie. Total Recall.
Have you seen...
Total Recall was a crappy 80s movie because
What?
the special effects were so cheeseball. I mean, it was just like ridiculous. When you look
outrageous.
back at it now, and I mean, especially, you know, I mean, come on, he sticks those pinchers up his nose and he grabs
Yes.
the thing.
Right. Yes. But that applies to today. Solar was doing that just last show.
I know.
I
know.
That is a classic
What was I doing?
movie. Get the people to air.
You were doing that while you were trying to get a missile out of the silo.
Wait, they're saying Total Recall was 90s.
Yeah, it was 90s. That's what everyone's saying.
Right.
Have you ever seen
So
Jim
how is it
Cotta?
a crappy 80s movies if it's
I
in the
love
90s?
I love crappy 80s movies though. I'll
But it's
count
in
that
the
in.
90s.
Well, it was 90, wasn't it?
It's
I mean,
in the
like,
90s.
if it was released in 90, it was made in the crappy 80s. So therefore, I will take it.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen Jim Cotta? Now, if you call Jim Cotta a crappy 80s movie,
You know
that's
what?
where they combine the master of
I love the
gymnastics
Breakfast Club.
and the art of karate
Oh, I'm sure that
and
that
it
was.
formed Jim Cotta.
I'm sure that was great.
Oh my gosh, it's classic.
I need
He
a
fights in the
song.
land of the crazies. Oh, Gleaming the Cube. That's another classic.
Gleaming the
with Christian
Cube.
Slater.
Oh
Gleaming
yeah,
the Cube.
yeah. Where
Oh,
he
ooh.
faked his own
Hey, what was
skateboarding
that one
stunts.
movie where it was the caveman and they dug him up in their backyard?
Encino
Encino
Man.
Man.
Encino Man, yeah, that's...
Encino Man was
That's
awesome.
not 80s.
That was
That's
awesome
not-
though. That was equally awesome. That was equally crappy, at least.
Yeah, that's, I'm just thinking crappy movies, and I'm like,
See, now,
that one
well,
sounds familiar.
you're getting crappy movies mixed up with crappy 80s movies because crappy 80s movies were classic in a certain way.
Condor Man, hello. Amazing. Right. Harry and the Hendersons. I know. This is like the film sack edition. Oh, Point Break, that's classic. Point Break is classic. Starman, Starman. I'm so proud of our chat room. Look at this.
Starman was great. The last Starfighter. How about that one?
Oh, dude, Last Starfighter is amazing.
I love that.
That was
movie.
the first one to ever use computer graphics in a feature film. Do you know that?
Did they use the computer graphics to make the game?
When he busts out the Death Blossom
Right,
at the end,
right.
it's like the greatest scene ever.
It is. It is.
And then the first time he's
Was
gonna
it-
shoot the dude, and that crazy dude is like, shoot! And he's
Right.
like, ah! And he fires. Oh, it's
Wasn't
classic.
it Lawnmower Man that used the first computer graphics stuff?
No.
Or maybe it was the first facial stuff or whatever, where they tried to
Lawnmower
do the whole
Man
body.
that was a big deal back then. That was big. That was like
Yeah.
during like the Beyond the Mind's Eye. I don't know if you remember that. There was
Mm.
all that kind of like, that was when like Maya, like CAD, like that was all like huge.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, man, Lawnmower Man, that was a classic one. That was based off a Stephen King book, I think.
Yeah. It was actually off of a short story that became kind of a bigger thing, as I
wow.
recall. So, and then
Voltron. That's
it was a short story that made it into a sequel.
classic.
Imagine that. Great.
Right.
Perfect.
Labyrinth, another classic. Oh man, I'm so proud of our chat room. Way to go, chat room. Very impressed.
Yes.
There's some older folks in here, man. Like, I'm in my 30s. I'm 30 years old.
You're just a kid.
I grew up in the 80s, baby.
I know.
Dark Crystal. This is
Dark
good.
Crystal
This
was
is good
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to do a song break today. I'm not going to do it. I'm not
All
gonna
right,
do
you
it.
have to. That lets me go to the bathroom.
Oh, you want
gotta
one
go
for that?
pee.
Okay. All right. If you need to go pee at that point, then maybe we should.
All right, let's see.
I'll just do something. Let me just check this one out.
We got the Valor stuff in here, but yeah, let's just kind of briefly talk about it. Song break. Ooh, scouting report today. Very excited. Goonies.
All right.
Goonies never say die. Explorers. Oh, man. Never ending story. Trail.
Uh-oh.
The classic ending of Never Ending Story. I think that's the one where he gets up and he goes, "You have to say, Sebastian, say my mother's name," or her name, or whatever. And he gets
Say
up
my
and he goes,
name. Call it
Right.
out. Yeah.
right.
The
He
never-ending
goes,
story.
"Blah, blah, 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 blah."
The
Don't
never-ending
understand.
story did actually have an end. I was kind of pissed off about that. I
That's
wanna-
what it was. Say
I-
my name, Sebastian. Say my
Say
name.
my name. Just say it.
Right.
I
was
can't. I'm eating an
I
apple
can't.
and reading a book.
You have to, Sebastian. Stop eating your damn apple. Right. He puts a blanket around him, lights a candle, eats an apple, and reads a book.
Right.
Boy, what happened to those days? You don't really do that nowadays.
What, reading books?
Well, that's the truth.
That is
or
the
get a
truth.
blanket and eat an apple by candlelight.
Right. Okay.
Falcor.
Falcor.
That was
Let's
like,
see.
These look like big, strong hands, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
But nothing
Yeah.
took them away.
all right.
All right. Are you guys ready?
How old are you? Yeah.
Huh?
I think so. I got my
thought-
fortune cookie ready to go.
What was your
Oh, I
question?
thought Colt had to go to the potty.
All right.
No, that's at song break. I have to go to the potty.
Oh.
I got to put on my big boy pants and go to the potty.
Oh, boy. Now I got
I got my fortune
I got to
ready.
write down. I just need to write down the band name, and then I'm good to go.
This is Jules
I'm
from the
sorry.
Torrent Think podcast. Help me word this.
She did. I was there. I don't know what was said, but I know that it was done.
It was sent in, and she helped me reword it.
Yes.
It all depends, Colt. See, when he says depends, he's talking about adult underwear. You see what he did there? See, Crimson Chuck, I love that stuff, man. I love, like, really bad jokes. Like, guy walks into a bar, says, ouch. That's crazy, right? Because he walked into a bar, right? But you don't think that.
No,
at first.
I'm not giving that to you.
Come on, man.
I'm not
Better
giving
than
that
half
to
his
you.
fortune cookies.
Well, sometimes I'll edit it a little bit, like just to kind of help the flow or, you
Yeah.
know, a little bit.
Yeah, well, you gotta help it out sometimes, from time to time.
Or make it even worse.
Right. Yes. One way or the other. All right, you boys ready?
Ready?
Let's do this thing. You know what? Actually, maybe I'm going to put this up a little bit. I'm going to put this first. Oh, gosh. Really? I'm going to put this first. Yes, I am.
What do you do? Oh, my God. You're doing what?
I'm changing the whole show notes around.
Oh, my gosh.
You'll like it. You'll like it. Don't worry about it.
Zug, it's a
You'll like
picture
it.
of you mooning us. What does that mean? That's not very nice.
That's what you can do. Kiss my patootie.
Right. It's just kiss my patootie. That's like
right.
full frame.
Right.
Oh, geez. Is that what, motivation for the show?
That's right.
Unbelievable.
That's right. You can kiss it.
Kiss my patootie. Let's
Kiss
get this
my
show
patootie. We are going in 3.
Oh, wait. I got
What?
to tell you guys. The best part of waking up is convert to rain in your cup.
3.
All right.
2. God. You guys suck. Making me laugh right before I have to do this. All right. I have a classically trained voice. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome home, Raiders. This week, the Brawlers Guild goes pay-to-play on the PTR. Vol'jin gets an update, and we'll revisit the very first spec we covered on the scouting report, and a lot more. This is Convert to Raid number 69.
You're listening to Convert to Raid.
Convert to Raid.
The podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
From the Convert to Raid Command Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, today is November 4th, and it is now 11:14 in the a.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome to Standard Time, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello, my name is Pat Crane, your host of the show. I'm also called Zug around here and around Earthen Ring, U.S., and I raid with both my Resto Druid and my Hunter Zug. Both of them, yes! And I have brought the players. They are here. From the Barren Desert in Arizona, he's a fellow raid leader and hunter and warlock extraordinaire. Solar Flare, hello, sir.
Fortune cookies.
Wait, no.
Yeah, I got you. I don't have a fortune cookie. That was so perfect. I knew.
Oh, he's
I don't
fished
have
in
to
on that one. Nice work.
Bunch of bullets there.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I woke up an hour and a half early
Well,
because see, look, I live in Arizona,
right.
and since everyone was falling back, I was like, oh, that means I have to fall back and wake up early. Well, that's actually not the case.
No.
So
It's actually everything is later by an hour. That's what it means, really. We figured it out. That's the important thing. All right.
yes.
So let's go to La La Land, Hollywood, California, and visit our Raging Mage, Coltrane. Hello.
Hey, it's Solar Bidet.
What is going on today?
Oh, my God. All right, take 2, Electric Boogaloo. Fortune cookies say at the McDonald's in Pandaria, the specialty is a quarter panda with cheese.
I'm letting that one go. I'm letting that one go. Letting it go. No. Mm-mm. Nope, I'm letting it go.
That's so terrible.
Casting it away. That is
Oh
it.
my gosh. I couldn't even get through it. I was laughing so hard.
Lucky
That is
dudes with that.
fantastic.
That's-
Oh, it's a quarter panda with cheese. Come on.
No.
All right. Well, that was sent in from Squabu, a Resto Shaman from Earthen Ring. And what's also neat is that's from a Resto Shaman, and we happen to have one for today's show.
We do. We do.
for the scouting report.
We're
So
gonna be
very
talking,
excited.
We're going to be talking Resto Shaman. There have been a lot of changes to the Shaman, so we thought this deserved a revisiting, so to speak. And so we'll be talking to those to Dobie from My Epic Heals, one of the sister shows of the Signals Media All-Star Network.
Woo!
Look how that works. Synergy, people. Synergy. That's what it's about.
right.
All right, let's talk about our week in WoW and Solar Flare. You want to go first?
I'll go first. I didn't have much of an exciting week, really.
Okay.
Nothing too big. I'm leveling up my paladin now.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be my third 90. I'm 87.5.
Wow.
I did that in one day, so good progress. You know what I just realized though?
What?
The new heirloom stuff. Does it go to 90?
I don't think all of it does it? I'm
I
not
wonder
sure.
if the legs do. Regardless, I made a mistake.
Oh?
I'm leveling as Prot, but I'm going to be holy. So here's the problem. 1, takes forever to kill things. 2, I'm not getting the gear I need to go holy.
Right.
So I did not make a good decision on that one.
That's pretty much a lose-lose there.
It was.
Wow. Right. And are you past the point where you can return it
I believe so. It's just questing, right? So you
for a
can't.
refund? I mean,
Well, you know what you could do? You know what I could do? What I really could do is I could change my spec the second I'm about to turn in the quest.
Oh, I see what
But
you're
Right.
come
saying.
on, who wants to do that 150,000 times?
Well, and
Right.
I had that problem when I leveled my druid because I knew that I was going to be going resto, and so I mean it's kind of the same thing, very similar situation anyway, and it's not fun because then that means that your off spec is hurting because you're trying to get all of your healing gear right at the very end. So when you get up to into like the 440 area, you start getting choices from the quest turn in anyway. So you can select healing gear over whatever other gear is available to you. But for the most part, you don't have to switch it up.
I'm telling you guys, all deeps all the time. You won't have this issue.
Right.
It's just another reason why DPS, baby. I'm telling you, won't have this problem.
Right.
I'm leveling up by Frost DK right now. All DPS gear. It's fantastic.
Right. And how are you doing on that?
I'm doing great, man. I got him up to, he's 87 and a half. He's doing well.
Cool.
So I'm working on him. And of course, my monk, Wok Fu.
Walk Fu!
Yes. All right. So we hadn't played
Yeah.
that in a little while.
Yeah,
Well
we haven't.
done.
We haven't.
dust
I
that
almost
baby
missed it.
off.
I almost missed it too.
Usually I hear you go, I'll say Wok Fu, and you go, oh, damn it. So that's good. So that's good.
Yeah. But I've also been doing some leveling on my monk, Pai Gao, which doesn't really warrant a song. But and actually, it's not Pai Gao. I have 2 monks going. Why? Because one, I was leveling with a friend of mine, and I'm like, okay, well, will be our leveling buddies type of thing. And then this one I'm just kind of doing for fun. Well, the one that I'm doing just for fun is now way out leveled Pai Gao because I just haven't been able to connect with my friend. And yeah, so Tadao.
Jeez.
As in Tadao, leveling up as a Mistweaver monk. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I have the DPS gear as well. I mean, I have all the heirlooms for either one, but I've been doing a lot of Mistweaver, the healing spec, and it is really fun right now. I just hit 46, and you know what I got? I got the spinning Pat Crane kick.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it is awesome. It is really awesome. I am so loving just throwing that out in big groups. It's great AoE healing. It's perfect. It's great. And it's named after me. It's spelled a little differently, but it's named after me, and that's the
Oh,
important thing.
absolutely. That's a mention. So
I'm
big
in the
shout out
game.
to Liz.
I am in the game.
You've been immortalized.
Hey,
That's right.
Speaking of monks, and since this is a rating podcast,
Yes.
have you guys come across any good monks
Yeah.
in your travels? Really?
Yeah.
I
Well,
have not
in
found
raids?
a single one in anything.
Well, I'm actually raiding with 2 on my other team. Aethric has changed his main to a monk tank called Walk and Roll. And
I love that name.
and also I have one of the My Epic Heals guys, Patango. Patango's on the team
Yeah.
as well. So we have a Mistweaver and a Brewmaster on our team. They're both great. So yes, I have. run
Interesting.
All right.
I have yet to come across anything that was like that's an exceptional player.
and
It's
also
all like really bad.
well, you know Zykai, our friend Zykai.
Yeah.
He's also changed to a monk for this patch. So
But what spec?
he's going Brewmaster as well, I believe.
Okay, now here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Now, I've run several LFRs, and I'm curious for all of those out there. I have yet to see a Windwalker monk in any LFR or in any raid teams. I see a lot of Brewmasters.
Sure.
I see a lot of Mistweavers. I don't see a lot of Windwalkers.
Right.
DPS, the melee DPS Windwalker. Now, Ghostcrawler made some kind of a tweet about this, kind of a comment, and he mentioned that the Windwalker monk has a high skill cap and also a pretty steep learning curve. Because when I think it was, 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes ago, we had Eatmo Pie on to talk Windwalker monks. Mm-hmm. And there's really, believe it or not, for that class, it's easy to level, but difficult to master in that there's a lot of cooldowns and debuffs and buffs for your character that you got to keep track of, like Rising Sun Kick. You got to make sure your Tiger Palm's going to do effective DPS. So I'm curious for all of you out there, maybe you can write into the show. I have not seen many Windwalker monks in LFR. I just haven't seen them. It's just the funniest thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't either, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. Yeah, interesting.
I mean,
It's
I'm not
kind of a
saying they're
funny
not
thing.
out there.
Right.
Show me
Right.
you got the skills, bros, because I haven't seen a single good monk
I
yet.
haven't
so.
seen them. I just haven't seen them. I've seen plenty of Brewmasters and plenty of Mistweavers, but not a lot of Windwalkers.
I think I've seen him in LFR. I mean, I know that right now when I'm leveling up Lobby, my Lobby characters, my Lobby monks, it's usually groups of monks. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of
Right.
groups of monks. 3, 4 monks in a group because everybody's
Totally.
leveling one up. But yeah, I think I've seen him in LFR, but I don't recall many.
Yeah, I really haven't seen him. And let alone when you see him, I haven't seen him like in that, like top 5 or anything like that. So
Right.
I don't know. I'm curious, but I haven't seen a lot of Windwalker.
Even on the beta and the PTR, I believe that their damage was kind of in the middle.
Right.
From my recollection, anyway, it was kind of in the middle, and I don't know exactly where they line up on raid bots. And if you guys aren't paying attention to raidbots.com, I mean, that just kind of shows what top teams are doing, right? But they're not top deeps. I know that.
Right. And also, too, because there is such a, as Ghostcrawler said, is a bit of a higher skill cap. You need to, it's a little bit more of a difficult class to play. So if you're kind of already maybe in the middle on DPS, plus you have a high chance of screwing up, and then you'll drop
Sure.
even lower.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's a little bit more difficult of a class. So I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing. I just haven't seen a lot of Windwalkers.
Yeah, I think there's stars in the support roles of tanking and healing, and DPS is DPS. It's a way to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So there we go. Hey, before we really start into the show, I just want to mention a couple of things. One thing, really. This last week, Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast. It was kind of a bad deal. There are still lots of people with power out and that can't get into World of Warcraft, unfortunately. No, but there was lots of destruction. There was, it was kind of hit or miss. I know Aethric, he's fine. Nothing really happened where he lives, but kind of up and down the coast, some people were hit with some flooding and some other stuff. So I just thought I'd use this time to tell you, if you would like to help out, there's still lots of help to be done on the East Coast. We'd like to encourage you to go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org and donate. There's a big cleanup happening. Lots of people still need help. Lots of people still without power. I know that that Fit from the Torn Think Tank. Yeah, he was without power. He just got power back yesterday, as I understand it. And so there's still lots of stuff going on with that. So redcross.org, donate to that, please, if you are so inclined, and thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that was the only thing that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, our heart goes out to everybody having to go through this mess. It's definitely just rocking, it's just, my gosh,
good
it's just
situation
really
at all.
insane. So
Yeah,
our heart goes out to all
seeing
those.
some of these pictures, man.
Yeah, I mean, New York City, and we'll be talking with Adobe, and he's from the East Coast, so he knows exactly what's going on. Maybe we'll catch up with him and see what's happening over there. But right now, let's jump into some old school.
Hit it.
Kicking it old school.
That's right.
That's right. It's time to talk about our Guild of Lobby Level 70 Raiders on Korgoth US and Solar Flight. What has been going on with iTunes
Yeah, darn tootin'. So we are in Black Temple now. I think this is going to be our last week of Mount Hyjal. And we're moving into the temple that is black. And
Awesome.
really not much going on that's new news.
Okay.
We're 2 bosses into Black Temple, just when we had extra time left over. Am I thinking of anything else? Going into Sunwell after Black Temple has been cleared a few weeks. Everyone's looking to get their gear right, so we're making sure everyone kind of has their tier 5 and as we get into this, more tier 6, so we can tackle Sunwell
Sure.
better-ish.
Better-ish.
Because as it stands, some of the abilities like what's his face, Supremus and Agentus's AoE just outright kill people due to some health pools. So we need to make sure that people, and we don't get this thing that happened with Classic where we were raiding with people and questing greens. We want people geared appropriately so things don't just magically kill them
Right.
right off the bat.
That would be good.
Yes.
Right.
So that's all about all there is to it right now with iTunes,
Cool.
as far as I know.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
it's fun, and people are starting to come back and enjoy that content with you guys. I know that for a while you had like 12 people going through stuff.
Oh yeah, we've had our peaks, man. I mean, we've been up and we've been down, and right now we're pretty steady. So,
Cool.
I mean, there were times where we had to tell 6 or 7 people, it's like, sorry, look, it's full.
Right. Right.
But that's just the way the train
Roll.
leaves the station. I don't know where I was going with that one, but
All right.
All right.
that's how.
Well,
the station.
well, good luck to all the guys in the iTunes project over on Korgath US Alliance side. And if you'd like to join, go to the Convert to Raid forums. Right? All right, but now it's time to talk about the official 10-man raid team of Convert to Raid. That's right. It's the one that we're all talking about right now, the Asparagus Initiative. Oh gosh. All right. So
There was much rejoicing.
yes, much rejoicing. So Solar, since you lead that one as well, what's been what did we do last week?
We did Mogushan Vaults.
Yes.
And we did our normal farm, so we got up to Elegon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had about an hour on Elegon, and we're working out a few things on him. But since the Heart of Fear came out this week,
Yes.
we're going into the Heart of Fear this Sunday, the new raid instance, to tackle Imperial Vizier Zorlok.
Yay! We're going into tackle new content. So that'll be good. And it looks like a really interesting fight. Like the first, like there are 4 phases in it, and the first 3 look.
It's kind of neat. It's like, here's one ability, here's another ability, here's another ability. Now they're all together.
Right.
So it's...
Right. It's like each individual ability looks fine on its own, and then I'm sure that it just all hell breaks loose in the last little bit there.
Yeah. I was doing it with the other team I'm with, and we were getting like 1% wipes. It's
Ooh, that's
manageable.
close.
It's close.
What are the
Close.
keys for that
Some
first
shoots
boss?
in
Is
hand.
it just constant movement?
Well, okay, so the first, I mean, you get a random platform each time. I'll just briefly detail this so we're not
Yeah.
here for an hour and a half. But there's 3 platforms he will potentially go to. One is where he does these discs that spiral out in this pattern, this kind of flower pattern, and you have to just avoid those discs. And he also puts a beam on a random player, and the tank has to intercept that beam, or
Yes.
else the player's going to get fried. And he'll go to another platform where he mind controls people, and the mind control people obviously need to be taken down to 50% health, and it breaks the mind control, and you just go about your business. And then there's another platform, which is where he casts this very, very, very potent physical damage, so you can't mitigate it through things like Aura Mastery. You have to kind of use like raid cooldowns or personal defense cooldowns, and you have to stand in these bubbles, and each bubble can hold up a maximum of 4 players.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that there's 4 players in one, 4 players in another, and 3 in the other. So that bubble, helps alleviate some of that damage, or else you're just going to get, wiped clean off the slate.
Wait, hold on
And
a
then-
sec. Hold on a sec. You said 4,
Sure.
4, and 3. That would mean that we
Is
would
that
have
equal?
11 players.
We're that amazing. That's because we're the asparagus
That would
initiative.
Right.
make sense.
If we get an extra guy, that'd be so much better.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. 3, 3, and 4. Either way,
Right.
each phase lasts 20%, so it goes quite quick on these platforms. And then at 40%, he flies down into the middle of the room, and he does all 3 of those abilities chained back to back to back to back to back to back.
Right.
So it's a little hectic,
I bet.
but manageable. There's no reason.
Good.
This
Yes.
is good.
Good.
I write this down. Don't screw this up tonight. Got it. All right. Yep. Did my homework. I'm good to go.
And Coltrane, did you learn your lesson from last week?
Well, here's the deal, folks. Let me give some advice to all you Raiders out there. Now, we raid on a Sunday. Now, a Sunday is a good day. You get a little bit of football.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of, it's a day of relaxation, a day of rest. And it's possible that old Coltrane may have partook in a particular beverage. In fact, not just one, but maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, let's just...
17.
It was basically, you turn on the TV, and it says, news at 11, or no, it says, at 11, breaking news, that's a lot of booze. It was pretty much... So, but here's the problem. I drank during the day. Now, for you younger listeners, I was drinking water. Imagine just drinking gallons and gallons of water.
Right.
So by the raid time hit, I was completely hungover. Like, hungover.
You were saturated and then back down to nothing. So you were...
Yeah, it was awful. Like, sometimes, when you go to raid, some people have a particular beverage during a raid, and it's fine. You got to take the edge off. You just got to relax. I don't recommend drinking before the raid, so when the raid hits, you have a pounding headache and you're a little bit nauseous.
Right.
Not the best combination. So,
right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because on the stream, everyone was like, "My God, is Coltrane sick?" Because I was like, "Yeah, Coltrane's ready." Oh, it was bad news.
Most people have a beverage during raid. And,
Yes.
and that's okay as long as, you're not, getting
Right.
silly with it.
Well, we had some friends over,
Sure.
football's on, you're you're having a good time. I
But
just kinda went a little too far.
drinking way beforehand and then
Right.
having enough time to sober up and get really painfully nauseated. I mean, that's no good.
It was awful. In fact, at one point, I had to take my headphones off because all the talking was making me nauseous. And then what was worst is then Wyatt Ork broke out the spittoon.
Oh, right.
And then, and then everyone starts like, blah, 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 into the spittoon. I was like, oh, it's just bad news. So yeah, I don't recommend, drinking, water, of course, an excess amount of water. Before the raid. It's just bad news. Right. But yeah, other than that, it was a lot of fun.
Well, it looked like water.
It did. And our team did really well. I mean, I would say that we've pretty much got the first 4 bosses on farm, just about. I mean, we one-shot Spirit Kings. I think we 1 or 2-shot Garajal. Now, we had the hardest combo of anyone for Stone Guard. In fact, I think a lot of raid teams felt it. This past week, because you had the chains, you had the amethyst, you had the, and then the ice mines. I mean, there's a lot of movement there and a lot of raid awareness. But I think we 2 or 3 shot those guys, and then Fang went well. So I'm feeling pretty confident on these first 4 bosses for us.
Yeah.
And like Solar said, we went into Elegon, and well, that didn't go so well, but that's all right. We'll get there. That's a really interesting and fun fight.
Right.
I'll tell you one thing for your Raiders. Some of us, you're in there and you get this stack, this kind of debuff. It builds up in stacks. When you stand on the platform, you become Starman. It was a nice 80s movie reference. And you'll get these stacks. And it was kind of funny. In the middle of the raid, someone shouts out, "Hey, you've got 16 stacks."
Right.
So you got to really kind of be raid aware.
Yes.
But it was great, man. Having a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to tonight. Trying a little Heart of Fear first. Try that first boss, and then we'll probably head back into Motorshell. We'll see
there's
how
a
it goes.
difference between trying and doing. So
You're right.
Well,
do or do not. There is no try.
I think of it as learning. We are learning the Elegon fight, not as
Yes.
trying, not as doing. We are learning, and
That's right.
And we'll continue learning until we've defeated it. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good way of thinking about it, I think. All right, let's go into the news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is Raiding News.
It's time to check out what's happening with raiding news around World of Warcraft. And first up, The devs had a water cooler this week about Mists of Pandaria PvP.
Yep.
Yep.
Moving on. Rob Pardo, who is the chief creative officer over at Blizzard Entertainment, he wrote something that kind of disturbed me a little bit, and he tweeted, "It's been pretty fun getting deeply involved with WoW again. The next expansion is going to be awesome."
Right.
Everyone's
Rob.
like, whoa, slow down.
Exactly. Rob, please slow down. Slow down. What is the movement?
right.
What is the saying from the pandas when you slow down?
Yeah, it's slow down.
Please slow down. Is this moving too quickly for everybody else? Colt, is this moving too quickly?
Well, I think it's funny because there's just so much content, in this expansion. And, everyone's talking about all the dailies and everything else. And now we got all these new features coming to 5.1. And now Rob's mentioning the new expansion. Like, what?
Thanks, Rob.
So, yeah, probably not the best timing right now. Maybe,
Right.
Wait a year and then maybe bring it up. But, because I'll tell you one quick thing, and this is a minor thing, and this could be just on a subconscious level. Mm-hmm. But when I'm in an expansion and I'm grinding it out, baby, you know what I mean? I don't want to know that there's another one coming because I want to feel like this is it.
Sure.
Like, this is it, baby. This is like the final. So that way I really go for it.
Right.
But if I know that there's another expansion coming, I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to redo this again. Another 5 levels.
Another
And
5,
here we
10
go.
levels, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think this might be a little early. I mean, now, granted, he just made an offhand comment on Twitter. This doesn't mean that the new expansion drops next week or anything like that.
Sure.
But yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. I think on a subconscious level for players, when you're in an expansion, especially right at the beginning, you don't want to hear about the new expansion that's coming.
And to his defense, I mean, he is the guy that knows everything before they build it, right? So he gets out of a meeting and he's like, "Oh my God, this is going to be great. I cannot believe this." And then he tweets it and he hits send and he goes, well, the old expansion just got out, 2 months ago? So,
Right.
maybe think about that. But, yes, I can understand his excitement for something new, the new shiny, as it were. Solar Flare, what are you still thinking that it's going to be Sargeras?
Yeah, I still think it's going to have to do a lot with the Burning Legion. Do I think Garrosh is corrupted by the Burning Legion anymore? No, I don't. But that was due to some 5.1 spoilers that I shall not detail on the show. But regardless, I think they're on good pace. It's nice to know that they're thinking about different content patches. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, they announced 5.1 like 3 weeks ago, but it was like, well, it just came out, this expansion, 2 weeks ago. Like, why are we talking about the next patch? But I think it's the next patch isn't really coming out just yet. I'd say give it a month or 2 or 3 until we see that. And I think that's good pace. And then this next expansion is not going to be here for another 2 years anyway, so.
Right. And Zyal in chat noticed that I called Mists of Pandaria the old expansion.
Wow.
So, yes, I called it the old expansion. The latest expansion, maybe. We'll say it that way. One other thing that I noted from Twitter feeds kind of around was that Mike Morheim, he tweeted something that sounds like we're going to have BlizzCon 2013. So we can look forward to that.
That's nice.
Right. We can talk about this old expansion, Mists of Pandaria.
Right. But I just wanted to get that out because I want to make sure that people know that it looks like BlizzCon 2013 is good to go. So we won't have to do a BlizzCon. But we enjoyed BlizzCon, by the way.
Oh, it was awesome.
It was great.
Congrats to Scott.
Yes. Again, thank you, Scott Johnson. Now, let's talk about what we're doing now. Heart of Fear just came out, and the progression is actually going along pretty quickly for a lot of different guilds. I know that there's, I think there's over 150 guilds now that have cleared Heart of Fear on normal difficulty, and we saw, kind of like the first ones trickle in, and it's all these guilds that I don't know what they are. I mean, Paragon was number 4 on the list, and I've never seen any of these other ones. Exodus, I think, was, top 20 to finish it, but Solar Flare, why are we seeing all these guys with weird guild names? Why are we seeing?
I'm confused. Where are you getting this information? Are you getting it from WoW Progress or Guild
Progress?
Logs?
Yes, and
Okay,
this
well,
is
most of these guilds that you're seeing up in this top 20 have been in the top 50.
Really?
For quite some time. I mean,
Okay.
there are a couple like Scrub Busters and Freak Me Out. I've never ever seen those, but
And maybe
Why Me, Apex, Envy, Stars, Wraith. These are all very well established guilds in the raiding community.
Well-
especially at these levels.
Do you see the ones from that I put in the show notes, like Set Sail for Fail and Night Watchers and whatever were awesome and Gamble? I mean, I have no idea. I've never seen those guys in the top 10 anyway. Not top 20
Set
that
Sail
I'm
for
aware of.
Fail, whatever were awesome. Pie Chart, yes, these are all very well established guilds. Very well established. A couple of these aren't, but that's just what you're going to expect when a new expansion comes out.
Sure.
And as always, what's interesting about the guilds that are kind of in the top 1,000 to about 200. I used to be very familiar with this group of raiding, and they disband and they reform just about every other tier. Because they're looking to push even further. They're almost there, but just not quite. So you see a lot of these new guilds crop up and then disappear about each expansion.
Sure.
So this is nothing new.
Okay.
Right. And one thing to bring up, too, is a lot of these high-end 25-man guilds, what I found that they were doing is they were breaking up into separate little teams, into little, 10-man teams, and then they were just going through the content that way. I'm not sure how mathematically it works out, but apparently they can get more gear that way.
Right.
Because they're not competing against their fellow raid members for gear. Like
Yeah.
if Caster DPS cloth gear drops, if you're all in Blood Legion, and you've got all these DPS casters, if they're in separate raid teams, then they have a better chance of getting. You're not stealing loot from your fellow 25-man raiders.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I found a lot of these high-end 25-man guilds are actually just splitting up into little 10-mans, and they're just to gear up that way because they can gear up a little bit quicker that way. And then when it comes time for heroics, then it's game time.
Right. Yeah, they were working with alts because most of those players have an alt or two that they can raid with, and so yeah, it was like they were bringing one of each armor type or something like that, essentially.
Right.
And
Right.
saying, okay, we'll bring 3 of our mains along with this 10-man and gear up our 3 mains while the alts can suffer. So.
Kind of funny. That's whatever were awesome. I actually saw them in an LFR this weekend.
Oh, really?
I saw one of their members because I remember seeing it because it's all in caps.
Right.
And it says, whatever were awesome. And it was like a Rhett Pally, and they were number 1 on DPS. And I was like, wow, whatever were awesome. That's a heck of a name. But yeah, here they are. They're ranked number 5 right now. I can give you the top 8. Duality was number 1. Set Sail for Fail was 2. Night Watches was 3. Grim Paragon 4. Whatever were awesome was 5. Infallible number 6. Defenestrate was 7. And Gamble was 8.
Defenestrate.
Defenestrate. Thank you. That sounds much better than defenestrate. So
Right.
thank you.
Right.
But again, and we were talking about this when the first guild cleared Mogushan. We're like, yeah, USA. But you're right. The real progression is going to be in heroics.
Yeah.
But regardless, congrats to these teams. It's still wonderful news.
Yeah, and even WoW Progress says, you know what, this is normal mode. This is no big deal. We are still going to rank teams based on heroic content, not on normals. So there. But this week, LFR comes out, and we'll be seeing that race to world first again for the heroics. And yeah, it should be a fun week to kind of
Wait a
watch.
minute.
And what?
You just said LFR comes out this week.
LFR
You meant-
comes out this week for Heart of Fear.
For Heart of Fear.
For Heart of Fear.
Oh, it does?
Yes, it does.
gosh.
LFR and Heroics come out the week after Normals come out.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
So this next week we have LFR and Heroics come out, and then what is it? The November 13th, the second half of Heart of Fear comes out on Raid Finder, and Normal Terrace of Endless Spring comes out as well. And then November 20th, Heroic Terrace of Endless Spring and Endless Spring on Raid Finder come out. The interesting thing is for American raid teams, the week of November 20th, that's Thanksgiving.
Right.
I didn't think about that when I saw this
turkey
initially.
for you, for Gresham.
Right. And it was kind of funny. One of the guys from Exodus actually emailed the show and said, heard the show, thought it was great. And so I asked him, I said, so you planning to get together with your family around Thanksgiving or not? And he's like, well, it looks like we're going to be raiding, but we haven't decided yet. This is Exodus. They haven't decided yet. I'm guessing they're going to go through Heroics. I'm just guessing.
Right. In one hand, they've got their mouse. In the other hand, they got cranberries. And it's like, what's it going to be? Right. They got cranberry sauce over here and their mouse in the other.
Right, exactly. And so maybe they can do both.
Right. Because you slap on the cranberries on top of your mouse.
Because as we all know, they live in their mom's basement anyway.
Oh, yeah.
They all live in their mom's basement.
Jeez Louise. Well, one thing to bring up, too, is that Heart of Fear, it drops a higher eye level of gear.
Yeah.
And also, your LFR for Heart of Fear is also going to drop a higher eye level. Now, the LFR in Mogushan Vaults, I believe, is 476.
Correct.
And in Heart of Fear, 483?
I believe that's right.
Wow. So Heart of Fear LFR is 483. Now, normal Mogushan is 489. Mm-hmm. So that's real close.
And a lot of the gear that you can get from reputation vendors at Revered and even Exalted from quests and stuff like that, those drop 489 as well.
Exactly.
So now
don't forget, you guys, these are also giving you tier pieces, and with the addition of the Shaw-touched weapon slots, you're going to get those weapon slots available now in the Heart of Fear.
Right.
So you can put them legendaries in there.
So now we're starting to see see why Blizzard was saying that reputation grinds are not necessary for raiding. For getting into raiding, it's not necessary, because now we're actually starting to catch up, and the gear level is starting to approach that of what the reputation vendors give out. Starting to see that, and I'm guessing that I can't remember what the Terrace of Endless Spring is dropping, but I know that it's more than 483 in LFR gear.
Right. And in Heart of Fear on normal drops 496. That's Heart of Fear normal.
Wow.
So, I mean, like Zug was saying, I mean, that's why, last week, and we got a couple of emails saying, like, hey, Colt, you can also, once you get Exalted with Golden Lotus and Klaxi, there's a quest reward, and you can actually get items being exalted.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. So I should have mentioned that last week. I did not, and the reason is that look around. Everyone is freaking out about all of these dailies. Mm-hmm. I mean, you listen to any WoW podcast, you look at any forum, everyone's talking about all this grind, all these dailies that we have to do. And my point of being that you can stop at Revered is because look at Heart of Fear. Look at the LFR for Heart of Fear.
Right.
It's going to be very similar, and you can even get better gear than what's available from these Valor vendors with the reputation. You know what I'm saying? So if you want, you can grind all the way to Exalted to get that one piece of loot at the quest reward, but it's a 489.
Sure.
Or you don't have to go through all that, and you can go into Heart of Fear LFR, get something that's very similar in eye level, or just do Heart of Fear on normal.
Yes.
So I guess we're speaking to the everyday raiders, on this show. Like, there's a lot of hardcore stuff we talk about, but we also talk about some of the everyday raiders. And the point being is that when I'm trying to say, like, don't worry about it, don't freak out, and this is the reason why, and that's what Zug just said, why Blizzard was saying, don't freak out. You don't have to do this rep, and this is why.
The problem that I have with some of this stuff is that now it's switching away from dailies, which I'm actually kind of glad about, and going into now people are going to feel like they have to run LFR every single week to gear up, to make sure that their team can progress, to make sure that all this other stuff is going on. And tier gear is going to be dropping, like we were talking about. And so that makes, that's another carrot on a stick in order to go into LFR. And I understand that. I just want everybody to know that it's based on your team, your gameplay, your drive, everything like that, and don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to do these things if you don't have to do these things. You know what I mean? If your team is not demanding them from you, just pace yourself. Because
Right.
I know that people have gotten burned out. I know people that have quit WoW already because of Mists of Pandaria, because they thought they had to do every single day.
Right. And you don't.
Right.
You
Slow down.
don't.
Take a break. Maybe have an adult beverage, not 17, and then try to raid
What?
later. But
What?
slow down. Watch some football, for crying out loud. Get out of the house.
Right.
Enjoy the fall weather. Or spring if you're in Australia, I guess.
Right. But I would say, Zug, too, because you said that this might force people to do LFR. But here's a question, too. Would you rather do LFR or do dailies? You know what I mean? To get your rep up.
I would much rather do LFR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much rather.
I agree.
I would much rather be practicing some of the moves that you're going to be doing in raiding and seeing some of that loot drop and doing that stuff instead of dailies any day of the week.
Right. Now, I got to bring up one more quick thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm sorry, Solar, we haven't actually heard from you. What do you think about all this jazz?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just something that I've always expected. I mean, of course, you don't have to do dailies because, to me, I'm not currently right now at a place where I need to be completely up to date on every single Exalted rep
Sure.
to get that 489 Valor piece.
Right.
That's just not where I'm at right now. And that one piece isn't going to make or break me. However, I think the putting players into the position of forcing them to do LFR, I guess if you want to call it that, to gear up isn't really a bad thing because that is the purpose of LFR. We've said it's a dual purpose system. One, it's for people to see the content they've never seen, and two, it's a tool that, for people to gear up. And if you don't want to gear up through dailies and you don't want to gear up through LFR, you're out of options.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to complain about next? I mean, that is the way to gear up, to get ready for raiding.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you want, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, right,
people.
exactly. And I don't think, when I geared up my druid, one of the things that I did to make sure that I could hit, that certain, I think I was shooting for 460 before raiding, like the week before. I actually, because of being a healer, I couldn't get a lot of drops with, going through the questing grind and stuff like that because I had to balance out my DPS set with my healing set. My DPS set is feral, so go figure. So what I did was I ran a lot of dungeons. I ran over 30 dungeons. I checked my stats after a week of being 90, and I had run 35 dungeons and something like 150 plus boss kills of Mists of Pandaria content, just so that I could get that gear. And I'm like, well, I got to slow down.
Right.
That was crazy. That was a crazy week. I remember being very, very tired. But you do what you got to do, or you push yourself into driving for that gear, and that's what I did. And now people are going to do that with LFR. But the thing with LFR is you can only run it once a week,
Right.
and get gear from it.
Unless you want to use your coins.
Sure.
You could do it that way too. If you got any coins left, I think if you've already looted a boss, I believe you can still use a coin and get loot. I believe.
Yep. You can win loot and roll. But
and you can go back in and do it again. Like I could do Stone Guards on LFR, and then I can actually re-queue and try and get that one piece I need off Stone Guards with a coin.
Right. But I know people that have won loot off of a particular encounter and rolled and won that same loot.
Oh.
So
Yikes.
It's like they're wasting a roll. So it's kind of like you got to make sure that you're burning it in the right place.
I'd rather have gold, I guess. That's like a slap in the face. Right.
Exactly.
Well, let me bring up one more little side note here.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're talking about is that Valor gear from vendors, Reputation,
Yeah.
gives you 489.
Yeah.
Heart of Fear, normal, drops 496. Heart of Fear LFR drops 483. And as we go forward, the eye level of all of this gear that's going to drop, and including into Terrace of Endless Spring, is going to be higher than 489, which the Reputation gives you.
Right.
The Reputation gear, the Valor.
Right.
Which means all the Valor gear from the Reputation vendors are essentially going to be worthless. The only use for that gear is going to be maybe to use it to get into, LFR or something like that.
Right.
So that's why there's a solution here that Blizzard is coming out with.
Yeah.
And that is the item upgrades. And it's back on the PTR. Now, Blizzard did not implement this right away. And this item upgrade thing is essentially where you can take an item, and by using Valor, you can upgrade it to make it more powerful. You can increase the eye level of the item. Now, what's great is this makes your Valor worth it. This makes doing dailies and Valor capping worth it again. Because if they didn't put this in, then Valor capping doesn't mean anything. I mean, really. I mean, you're Valor capping to get gear off the Reputation vendors. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but the max eye level you can get is 489.
Right.
Well, I can do Heart of Fear on normal and get 496. Or even LFR, I can get 483. That's real close to 489.
Right.
So what's the point? So
Right.
that's what's great about this item upgrades thing and why it's coming in later. Because when it first came out, everyone's like, where's this Valor system? This item upgrades. Why isn't it in game? And here's why. And that's what I think is brilliant about Blizzard. They delayed it. They want more time to perfect it, get it exactly right and ready. And then they'll introduce it later when we need it. We didn't need it at the beginning, but we need it now, going forward, as Heart of Fear and Terrace of Endless Spring open up. So there's not a lot of info on it right now. It's basically you can use Valor and I believe maybe Justice Points or something like that. I'm not sure. In fact, don't quote me on that because there's still a lot of details missing.
Points.
Okay, it's just Valor and maybe some Conquest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, you'll be able to use your Valor to upgrade an item, to increase its eye level, and to increase its stats.
Right.
So that gives another purpose and another reason to do dailies if you wish, because that's one way to get Valor, and to Valor cap each week. So it's a good thing.
I find it tough to Valor cap right now. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you have to do many different things in order to Valor cap the best way, I think. You have to take like everything and pile it into one thing. I mean, so you're doing dailies. You're also doing like daily dungeons and daily scenarios and all this other kind of stuff to make sure that you're hitting those the 1,000 Valor points per week. So
yeah, it's real tough. In fact, Affinity from Blood Legion, I was watching his stream and he was talking about how it's almost impossible to Valor cap, that you almost have to do dailies in order to Valor cap. It's like, it's really difficult. I mean, now Blizzard did help with this. They increased Valor on your first heroic dungeon up to 80. So they increased that. So that's good. So they have upped the Valor that you can get.
Right.
So Blizzard seems to be aware that there's an issue with Valor capping each week.
Yep.
But I'm excited about this item upgrade thing, man, because this gives a purpose and a reason, because without it, what's the point of getting Valor? You know, from a gear perspective.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Exactly. Some other things from 5.1 that have come out this week, some more stuff that they've been adding to the PTR, to the public test realms. They've done a bunch of class changes, and I don't really want to stick to any one thing too much because I know that we're running late already to get to our special guest. But some cool things that they discovered. One thing that they discovered was a bug to Beastmastery hunters in arenas. Solar Flare, did you see this?
Yeah, they most certainly did. The way that Stampede worked in arenas was the exact same as it worked in raiding, and it was incredibly overpowered. To the point where, I mean, I am doing fairly competitive twos with a Frost Death Knight, and we would just, blow all of our cooldowns, and we'd say, okay, I'm on the warrior. And then we'd wait, what warrior? He was already dead.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's kind of the extent of what it was looking like.
Right.
And they did fix that.
Right. And they also took out a thing that they put in for the test realms, which is Cataclysm for Warlocks. They took that out. There's a whole big drama behind that. I don't really want to get into it right now because we're running so late. But they also did some stuff with mages, right, Coltrane?
Yeah. They did. They got rid of the cooldown on Pyroblast.
There you go.
That's huge.
There you go.
That's huge. So
you got
mages
that
are
back.
rejoicing around the world.
That's because you spoke. That's because you spoke directly to the devs and they listened to the show. They must.
I'm sure. That's exactly what it is.
That's what it
exactly right. Absolutely. So thank you, Blizzard.
One other thing that I do want to talk about is the Brawlers Guild. Now, this week came out on the PTR that this is going to be, in order to get into the Brawlers Guild, this is going to be invite only. So they're trying to gate this thing. And the way that they're gating it is they're saying that invites will be on the black market auction house. And you can also get them from people within the Brawlers Guild that are already in the Brawlers Guild. Solar Flare, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's a cute concept, right? Like, it's kind of novelty. A little bit like Fight Club. We were talking about this before the show, how the only way to get into Fight Club is by being, invited into Fight Club. But the first rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club.
Sure.
So I thought that was kind of cool how, like, the only way to get invited to the Brawlers Guild is by getting an invite to the Brawlers Guild. And then that was a nice little chain. But obviously someone's going to have to start that, right?
Right.
So you've got your big money man on the server, me, Binky, other people like that.
Yeah.
And they buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the limitations are here, but I'll just invite you, I'll invite you, I'll invite you, I'll invite you. And I mean, we get this large chain going on. And the server should be, that kind of chain reaction, plague, virus, if you will, just spreading across and across and across.
Right. My problem is that we're gating content based off of the gold in your bank. That's my problem with it. And for those that don't know about Brawlers Guild, this is the PvE one-on-one content that they're putting out for the next patch. And I mean, I don't think that it's fair, and yes, I am using the word fair, to put it on the black market auction house and have somebody buy it for up to almost $1 million gold, one copper shy of $1 million, and then maybe they might, if they're nice, they might just give it away, and if they're not so nice, they might sell invites to other people with massive amounts of gold. And I just don't like it. I don't like the fact that they're gating this content based on in-game currency. And I know that they do this with gear a little bit, but this is not gear. This is about content. Coltrane,
Right.
What are your thoughts here?
Well, I think your last point that you just said is key. This isn't about gear. This is about content. This isn't about some type of vanity item.
Right.
Or like a big mount or something like that. Or this is about content. And I don't feel that you should gate or hold back people on content based on gold. You know what I mean? I mean, it in a weird way, people are saying this is like another kind of a gold sink. You know what I mean? It's a way for people to spend all their cash, but this is to see content. That's the issue that I'm having. Like, you can get these big, huge $20,000, $30,000 or gold mounts and various things, and you get all this great stuff, but that's fine. But this is content. And I feel that content should not be held back based on how much cash you have in game.
Right.
That's my issue with it. I'm not a big fan of this, for that reason. People shouldn't be held back based on how much gold they have. Now, here's one thing.
Yeah.
Just one quick point is that Blizzard knows how much money everybody has.
Right.
And with all these dailies, you're getting 19, 20 gold per. So I'm maybe assuming that maybe Blizzard is saying or thinking we've got too much gold here. With like players have too much, maybe there's too much. So maybe they're doing this because they need a gold sink. Maybe. You know what I mean?
Well, I know one thing. I know one thing. I don't have a lot of gold.
And they already have quite a few gold sinks in the game already. I mean, with the new Panther mounts, the Yak mount, and you do have a good point. I mean, when Cataclysm dropped and questing through that, and doing a little bit of just a little bit of material gathering and selling that on the auction house, you made a huge return. I mean, you almost nearly doubled your gold from what you had in Wrath. And the same thing kind of happened a little bit here, going through the quest, selling the greens, getting some crafting materials and selling them. Unless you're throwing your gold down the toilet, you should have a fairly decent chunk. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what people do with their gold, but I mean, there's no reason that Blizzard shouldn't assume that you guys have some money.
Right.
Yeah, but
I don't.
not up to $1 million.
No, and I don't think that I've necessarily. I haven't really made money in Mists of Pandaria. I haven't lost money, but I haven't really made much either. I've been able to make enough so that I can take care of myself and kind of have it null itself out. You know what I mean? So I'm not making money. I'm not losing money. I'm just kind of staying the same, right around 5K, which isn't a lot. You know, and this is on both characters, so I guess I have 10K between the two. You know, and it's not a lot of cash because I'm not playing the auction house. I'm not doing all those different things. I'm just trying to, you know, get my stuff for rating and go about my merry way. So,
Right. Well, here's the thing.
I don't know.
Let's say we got a guy named Billy.
Yeah.
Now, Billy loves this Brawlers Guild. He loves the idea of it. In fact, Billy has kind of taken pride in being able to do some of these one-on-ones with certain bosses, right? So Billy sees Brawlers Guild, notices that his name and Brawlers Guild start with the same letter, so he figures this is destiny. So Billy's jazzed. He's pumped. He's ready to go. And he goes up there, and then they say, well, Billy, we're going to need 400K gold. If you want to see this content, you're going to need 400K gold. Now, let's say Billy is maybe in a smaller guild or on a server that maybe doesn't have some huge blossoming economy or something like that. Billy can't see this content because he doesn't have enough money. And maybe he doesn't have members of his guild who have a ton of money. So
Can I stop
Billy
you right there, Cole?
Sure.
Okay, I want to interject here and tell me what you think about this. How is it any different from heroic rating? You don't have the skill, you're not going to be able to participate.
But that's about skill.
Yeah.
And this is about gold. You can make money just like you can acquire skill.
I don't
know about that.
I don't see it the same way. I don't see rating as the same way as auction house. And I know that some people consider the auction house to be like the greatest PvP ever. I mean, we've had them on the show. But you know, it's kind of one of those things where I look at rating. It's a team sport. Yes, you need a team. Yes, there is a gate that way. You need a team. You need to know your class. You need to know all these different things. That is about play style. That is about being able to play well and be skilled and blah blah blah. This is about something that I have never thought about in this game. How do I make the most amount of gold? I've never been about that. It's kind of throwing me for a loop.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan, man. I think they shouldn't hold back content based on gold.
Right.
It's content. You know?
Right.
And I don't feel like, personally, I don't feel that play style is the same as gold. Like, I don't feel like making gold is like a play style, you know, because some of us have more time in game than others. Some of us can only log in and we raid, you know, once or twice a week, or we log in and we do some dailies and some questing, and that's all we have time to do. And we don't have time to maybe work the auction house. Some of us maybe aren't as, you know, mathematically inclined.
And in the same tangent, some of those people don't have time to raid. And whenever they see this heroic content, they don't sit there going, oh man, I don't have enough time to do the heroic content.
But
I mean, only get 2 hours to play. You're comparing the exact two same things here. Exactly.
But he's also not complaining about not seeing heroic encounters. You know what I mean? I think that there's a different mindset that comes with facing heroic encounters, especially if you've never faced them before. If you've never come up against heroic encounters, you might want to go and try them, but you know that you need to go through normals, which is a gate of sorts, and maybe that's okay because you're practicing. Here, there's no practice.
Disagree.
It's you're paying to fight. The other thing that I want to bring up real quick is that there are Realm First achievements, I believe, along with the Brawlers Guild. There are Realm First achievements for the Brawlers Guild for beating all the encounters that they have. And again, I think this is kind of a pay-to-win type of situation where you'll see the guys with the most money up on, with that feat of strength.
Yeah.
And so you're basically buying a feat of strength. Is that any good for the game? I don't know. It doesn't do much for me. it makes me a little kind of angry about it that I can't get in there.
And then let's talk chat room just a few minutes because they're engaged in this too. Some
Yeah.
people are saying that making gold is not gameplay at all. It most definitely is. You're completely wrong if you think it isn't.
It's a different game.
It is a game. It is a different game, but it is still part of the game, and it's part of the game that a lot of people partake in. Just like a lot of people don't raid, a lot of people don't do the auction house. But just because you don't do the auction house doesn't mean it's not part of gameplay. And I'm going to die by this statement. You, by not, how do I word this properly? Just because you don't have this gold to participate in this fighting circle of brawlers' death, just because you don't have the gold to do that, you shouldn't be, bashing it. Just because some people on the opposite end of the spectrum don't have time to raid.
Well, okay, let
me finish.
Sure.
Just because you don't have the skill to do heroics to acquire that, because you can acquire skill and you can acquire gold.
Mm-hmm.
They're interchangeable terms here, and nothing is different in either perspective.
But when you're talking about heroic encounters, you may not necessarily see the heroic encounters, but you can still see the content. And they've been able to do that by breaking it down and saying, okay, we're going to have heroic content, we're going to have normal content, and then we have this thing called LFR. So if you are a raider of any sort, of any type, and you want to see this content, you can see it. And it may not be the most difficult content in the world, but you can still see it. Now, let me ask you a question. If they had done this same thing with pet battles, what would you think then? Or if they do this with a profession, what would you say then? And I know that's not necessarily the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. You don't have to do it in game. That's true. But at the same time, if you want to do this, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of gold. And I think that if you look at any of the other parts of the game and you say, what if you had to pay, 400K so you could collect herbs? I mean, that's kind of a big deal too. And I don't know what the answer is here, because I just wanted to at least start the discussion on this show so that we could bring it to you guys.
Look.
And you guys can get back to us. I mean, email us, converttoraid@gmail.com. Tell us your thoughts. Jump on our website. Start something in the forums. And let's have a broader conversation about this. I definitely want to get our listeners' opinions on this.
And I don't just have this opinion because I'm sitting on a huge pile of gold. Look,
Sure.
People have the option to raid. Listen to me. Everyone has the option to raid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of those people don't choose to do that. Just like this, everybody in this chat room, everybody in this conversation has the option to make gold. Every single one of you.
Right.
Are you going to do it? Chances are probably not.
Well, if you're not doing
changes.
it already, most likely you're not going to change overnight anyway. Right. I would agree with that. So, I mean, it's just, is this a right way to do it, or is this a wrong way? I don't know. I don't like it, and that's my personal opinion. But yeah, go to the forums, guys. Go to the Convert to Raid forums. Go, you can feel free to email us. You can feel free to call into the Skeleton and voice your opinions and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see where this goes.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, yes, please do. Please do.
One thing that I love about this is that we've got two differing opinions, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because that causes friction. And when you got friction, you got fire, baby!
Drama!
And that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is good. This is what's great. This is discussion. You got one point going this way, you got another point going that way. It causes friction. I love it. This is good stuff. I'm just saying, I'm sitting over here excited. I think this is really good. I think it's good to have differing opinions on a particular topic.
Yep.
This is good stuff.
And I know that they had done this for a reason. I know that they've done this for a reason. And one of the reasons that they wanted to gate this content in some way, shape, or form is to make sure that that people wouldn't overwhelm the system. I understand that. One of the things that I think it was Zarm said was that they wanted to make sure that, remember, people can watch this content as well. They can go to the arena and sit in the stands. They wanted to make sure that people would still be able to do that. But you know what? There's a better way to gate that. Maybe instance the whole thing. So that you can have an instance and you can have it up to 20 people or something like that. And then you're not overwhelming anything. You're just putting it into an instance and being able to do it that way. I don't know. And I don't know what the right answer is here. So, yes. So let us know what you think, guys. Please do. But we do need to get moving on to the scouting report. Before we do, I do have a song for you. We'll go into a song. We'll readjust ourselves. We'll maybe grab some water.
3 gallons of
have
water.
some fun. Yeah, exactly. Have an adult beverage, perhaps. I mean, it is noon for crying out loud.
That's right.
So we'll go to a song first. Now, this song is from my other show, the Independent Music Podcast, where you can look it up on iTunes by the Independent Music Podcast. I can't say it right now. Or you can go to impcast.com. This one I did a few shows back. This is the Dirty Skirts from 2009 with Can't Remember Your Name, and we'll be back right after this.
Seems a shame to name you Sunday, a girl, a boy on different trains. So what was it for? What was it for? Is that a girl, a supernova, a girl, a boy going different ways? Knock on my door. Come knock on my door. Can't remember your name. I'll trace a finger down the nape of your neck. Can't remember your name. I lie awake wondering when. Funeral of the bond that is broken. Joy for the one that's renewed. So what would you choose? So what would you choose? Stay in bed for a week and play dead. Epitaph on my skin. What would you explore? What would you explore? Can't remember your name. I trace a finger down the nape of your neck. Can't remember your name. I lie awake wondering when. Wondering when. Wondering when. Wondering when. Can't remember your name. I trace a finger down the nape of your neck. Can't remember your name. I lie awake wondering when. Can't remember your name. I trace a finger down the nape of your neck. Can't remember your name. I lie awake wondering when.
Good stuff.
Yeah, baby.
Once again, Dirty Skirts, Can't Remember Your Name from 2009. So there. And it's been a while since I've been able to play some music. It's good. It's good. Mm-hmm. Let me, I'm going to stop the recording just for a brief moment here because I wanted to switch something up and then restart it.
Ooh.
I'm just doing a little housekeeping on my end, basically.
Housekeeping?
Housekeeping?
Don't make a thing out of
Was
it.
that Black Sheep? Was that Black
Yes.
Sheep? Yeah, it was. Housekeeping?
We're quoting a movie.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's get a doobie.
I'm excited, man. We haven't had a scouting report in a little while.
I know. Adobe, you there, buddy?
What up, brother?
Hey, man. Nice to have you on, my man.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry
Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry for the late start, but
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
yeah, we got you. So we're good. Solar, are you back?
Yes. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Solo play.
Solo
Adobe,
play.
thank you for being on, my man. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, totally, dude.
So we'll just do a little intro for you. I don't really have one written, but that's all right. I know who you are.
I've got one.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do this. You know, I'm a podcaster as well.
Oh, right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's amazing how you do that stuff. All right.
Jeez.
Well, I've got a little intro sounder for you. I'll introduce you, and away we go. How's that sound?
All right.
All right, here we go, people. 3, 2, 1.
The Scouting Report.
Whoa.
It's time for the Scouting Report, where we get an in-depth look at a particular class and spec from a knowledgeable source. Most times. Not today. Sorry. Everybody go away. No, I'm kidding. But if you have a particular class and spec that you'd like to talk with us about on the show, you can always send an email to converttorade@gmail.com or hop on our lovely forums at converttorade.com and submit your name as well. Today we are going to be talking about the first spec that we ever discussed on this show, the Resto Shaman. And who better to discuss it but somebody with a passion for all things healing in World of Warcraft. One of the guys from My Epic Heals, Adobe. Adobe, welcome to the show, sir.
Welcome to My Epic Heals, a podcast for all things healing in the World of Warcraft.
Right.
My name's Adobe. I'm a Resto Shaman, and I'm here with Zug. He's a Resto Druid. Hey, Zug.
Hey, how's it going? Are we doing a double podcast right now?
This is episode 40.69.
There we go. Awesome. How you doing, brother?
Absolutely. We're also here with two lame DPS. I don't know why they're
What?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Gauntlet has been thrown.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Hey, DPS kills bosses, all right? Heals don't kill bosses.
Heals kill players, usually. Or let players die. That's definitely the case with some of my groups. All right, let's talk a little bit about you and what's going on. Now, you're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, brother. I'm in Manhattan.
So how is it? How is it after the big hurricane?
Listen, I'm super lucky. I mean, I am super, super lucky. I'm very blessed. Let me just go ahead and get that out of the way. But I was literally raiding when the tide was coming in at like 13 and a half feet down in Battery Park.
Oh my God.
And I had my raid team. They were telling me, they were like, hey man, you know, the tide's getting pretty rough there. You sure you want to keep raiding? And I'm like,
Right.
what else am I supposed to be doing? Just sitting here freaking out about a storm?
Yeah.
That's dedication. You hear that, Raiders? That's what I want to hear from all of you. That's the good stuff.
So yeah, but I was real lucky. I'm in Uptown. I'm way uptown in Manhattan, so I'm at one of the highest points. So I'm cool. I did want to just throw out there, you know, redcross.org. Yeah, if you want to help, do it that way.
Yeah. I think that's a great organization. They really know how to organize and help out, you know, the most needy first, and really try to get everything going. So, yeah, absolutely do that. But everything's well with you and yours.
Everything's fine. I did see some chat earlier. I had to turn the chat off because it was messing with my Skype and stuff. But I saw in the chat earlier some people were saying that they hadn't heard from friends and whatnot. Let me just tell you from experience, you know, on the Lower East Side, below 26th Street, they still kind of don't have power. And
Right.
AT&T, if they had AT&T, it's really hard to get communication out of there. So I had to go and look for one of my friends. I went and found him a couple days ago. He's totally fine. He lives above a bar, so he was totally fine.
He was fine in a bunch of different ways.
Oh yeah. He was totally fine. But I just wanted to get that information out there, you know. So if you haven't heard from somebody, it's probably because they can't contact you. So
Right.
sorry, just wait it out. We
It's
should be good.
It's a tough spot for everybody right now. So yeah. Well, let's talk about you and gameplay now. Let's get into the game now. How long have you been playing Resto Shaman, and what's going on? How is Mop treating you so far?
I rolled a Resto Shaman back in BC. I was forced to by my raid because they were stacking bloodlusts.
Oh, yeah. Remember
Yeah,
those
and
days?
Yeah. Back in those days, I guess I sucked so much on my hunter, my blood elf hunter, that they were like, "Dude, you need to reroll."
Right.
So they made me reroll. They were like, "If you're going to be in our raid, you need to be useful. So here, have a bloodlust."
Right.
So that's when I started healing on the Resto Shaman. And ever since I've been playing it, every time we get into an expansion, it doesn't feel like we get any love. I mean, it feels like we're one of the most neglected healers at the beginning of every single expansion, except for this one, baby.
I know this one. It seems like Shaman are one of the top healers around, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel that way. I feel very powerful. I know a lot of people stopped with their Resto Shaman at the beginning of Kata, but man, now's the time. If you love that, oh, come on back, baby.
Right. Well, and even I switched to my Resto Shaman when they did this big nerf on Druids back in Cataclysm, and then I switched back to Druids when they, fixed it. So, and I was actually kind of wondering whether or not to go Resto Shaman or Resto Druid, and chose the Druid because I was like, well, there's no way that they're going to nerf Druids and right now Druids are kind of at the bottom of the barrel. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've been raiding, I'm in a 10-man raid team, just so you know, when I'm talking about Shaman. My role, we've got 3 healers for the most part. I'm the swing guy, though. When we need DPS, I go Ellie. So my role when we're 3 healing is I'm the guy that is the, how do you put it? The oh shit button.
Right.
That's me. I'm that guy. So I usually just kind of sit back, and my druid, who I've been healing with, just tops the charts. And he's like, his name's Tukettu, and he is a very, very skilled player.
He is great.
He's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Forget about it.
He's one of the best healers I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's over there, and then I've got Eid over here, a holy paladin, and he's all right.
Yeah, we've talked to Eid.
Nobody's really sure what Eid does. We still haven't figured that out
yet. He wears a fishing pole a lot of the time, so I imagine he's fishing when he's not with the raid. I can't figure it out.
Sure. Well, let's talk about the changes that have occurred in Mists of Pandaria, because there have been quite a few for Shaman. And if there's anything particular for Resto Shaman, just let us know. But what are those changes that have really occurred from this expansion?
One of the biggest things for me and for other Resto Shaman has been the way Blizzard is now treating our totems.
Right.
Totems for a couple expansions now have been something where you kind of ask your raid leader or you ask your healing lead. You're like, hey, guy, what 4 totems do you want me to throw? And they'll tell you, and you're like, all right, so when I get into raid, I'm just going to hit button number 1, and all 4 of my totems are going to come out. Whether it was a macro early in the day or whether they gave it to you, later on, where you could lay all 4 totems at once. And you would kind of set them and forget them. You would just sit there and you'd make sure that they were still up. You might have to reposition them because the raid spread out or whatever. But other than that, you would set them and forget them. Well, now Blizzard has taken all of that away, and totems are they're short cooldowns now. Okay. So you throw them out in specific situations. You're not always going to have, 4 totems out. You're rarely going to have 4 totems out. I rarely have 4 totems out.
And it's all very situational too, right?
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely. We have so many cooldowns. Healing Tide Totem is one that you can throw out, I believe, every 3 minutes. It's really awesome. And then you've got this Healing Stream Totem that's really cool. Both of those are mini healing cooldowns. Healing Tide Totem is probably one of the best cooldowns we have in the game right now.
Can you tell us what they do? What both of those totems actually do?
Absolutely. Healing Tide Totem summons a water totem with 10% of the healer's health at the feet of the casters. So, that's pretty much the same as any other totem has always done. But the healing totem pulses every 2 seconds, healing the 5 most injured party or raid members within 40 yards. So, it's something that you throw out when you're taking mass raid damage. Sure. And when, I'm that emergency button, being that shaman, it's really, really great for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. And what are some of the other cool totems that you have, and what do they do?
Some other totems that I've got, I have this Earth Elemental Totem and a Fire Elemental Totem. And at level 90, you get to choose a talent. Right now, I'm Primal Elementalist. You get to pick those 3 tier 6 talents. Sure. You can pick one of the 3. I'm Primal Elementalist. And what that does is it's a great talent. And what it does is it uses channeled abilities from the elementals, and it imbues the shaman with like all this awesome magic, and it buffs your heals by about 10%, whether you're using the earth elemental or the fire elemental.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So you'll see this like channeling light coming from the elemental, and it'll just kind of stop what it's doing and start channeling towards the shaman, and the shaman starts getting crazy, and then all the other healers are fearing for their lives.
Right. Wow. Okay, awesome. So maybe let's talk about some of the others. And we're a little bit familiar with these spells. I mean, there's Chain Heal, and then there's some of the like the Greater Heal and things like that. But let's kind of put it into perspective as far as how has the rotation or the priority system. What is it now in Mists of Pandaria? And are there any like extreme changes from the way that Cataclysm worked for Shaman?
Yeah. You mentioned a spell that I'm just not that familiar with. You said something about Chain Heal?
Yes. It was one of those big heals that we used a lot in Wrath. In the Wrath days. Yeah.
Must have been fun. It's like whips and chains. It's kind of sexy.
Yeah, it pretty much was. So you're not using that at all?
I don't. Now, once again, I want to qualify this. I'm a 10-man raider. So, in 25-man, it might have its uses. Mm-hmm. And I do throw it out sometimes, but it's only when it's glyphed and it has an extra range component to it. So that I can actually hit a raid that's kind of spread out with my Chain Heal. But literally, going into Mogashan so far, my raid team is 4.5 of 6.
Okay.
Which means we're sitting there working on Elgon.
Right. Like a lot of other people, we're working on Elgon.
We're in the same boat. Yeah,
exactly. So what are you using, and what are those spells like, and what's the playstyle like? I guess.
The biggest thing is these totems. It really gives us another layer that we're throwing out there as a healer. So. In the past, we've always had these single target spells that we've always dealt with, Healing Wave, Greater Healing Wave, Riptide. These things are what we do, I feel like, when we don't have anything else to do. But what we're doing when we do have something to do is we're always throwing out our totems. And the crazy thing is with our cooldowns, with those, being a Primal Elementalist, like I was talking about. So those are healing cooldowns for me, these totems. Mm-hmm. Healing Stream Totem, Healing Tide Totem, and then you've got, Spirit Link Totem, which is another healing cooldown. I can rotate these cooldowns throughout a fight pretty seamlessly to where, almost all the time I have one of those going on. Sure. So I'm worried about my totems, first of all. Then I've got Healing Rain that, if the whole place is taking damage and we're all stacked together, I'm trying to throw out that Healing Rain as much as possible, checking out my mana, making sure I'm not using too much mana. And then once those two things are satiated, I've got my cooldowns rolling and my Healing Rain is rolling. I've got my Riptide that I'm making sure is on as many people as I can. Because it doesn't have a cooldown with the glyph I have. Go check it out. It's amazing. And then I'm throwing my, healing waves and greater healing waves. So instead of it being a priority system or whatnot, it's kind of this 3-tiered layer of a cake. And you just want to make sure that you've got all the layers going on all the time.
Wow.
Quick question for you.
I didn't realize we were going to bake today. Go ahead, Solar.
Yeah, whatever happened to Healing Surge?
Healing Surge. I back in, Wrath of the Lich King, Healing Surge started not to be used as much. I don't even think we had it in Wrath of the Lich King. I think it was added maybe in in Cataclysm. Is that right?
That may be right.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah. But Healing Surge, we've never used that much. And once again, it's kind of an, oh crap button that uses a lot of mana, but gives you a significant amount of heals. Sure. Now, the way I play and the way that my cooldowns are spread out, and I also have Ancestral Swiftness, which is going to, give me another, oh crap button. I don't use Healing Surge that much. I would actually go and look back at my logs, and I may have thrown it 3 times this expansion.
So not much is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is on a minute.
Just curious.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess my next question is then, because from what I recall back in Cataclysm, like Healing Wave, like Greater Healing Wave, they said was more efficient as far as heals per like HP, N or M. I'm not sure what it is, but like Healing Surge, it was great for that emergency heal, but it was a high mana cost and the amount of healing wasn't that great. So they were saying basically use Greater Healing Wave. My question is on Healing Wave, not Greater Healing Wave. This used to be kind of your like filler heal. Is that still kind of the case? Is this just kind of something you're just throwing up, here and there?
Absolutely.
Like in between heals?
In my style of play, like I'm talking about, my cake style, which I should write a book on it because I'm sure people would buy it. The third, that top layer, the icing, are all these single target spells. Well, the first one that I'm going to think about throwing out is Healing Wave because I'm bored and I'm sitting there going, all right, everything seems to be fine. And I want a little bit of mana back, which Healing Wave, when you crit, gives you mana back. So it's kind of something that's almost a mana neutral spell. And when I do hit those crits, which is about 20% of the time, maybe 15% depending on how you're stacking crit and whatnot, I'm getting mana back. So it's something that I can sit there and throw when there's nothing else to do.
That's interesting because wasn't there a talent too called like Telleract Currents or something like that where you throw out like a lightning bolt and get mana back?
That was a talent, yeah.
Right.
You don't.
Is that?
Do you?
Go ahead.
You don't listen to my show.
Oh, jeez.
Busted. Well, tell our listeners. I mean, the important thing is
I do listen to your show. Maybe I missed that particular episode, but go on.
I hate your occurrence. It's like the bane of my existence because I'm a healer. Why do I want a DPS? I'm a healer.
Right. Well, I remember in on Dragon Soul, especially on fights like Spine, I had to, when I was on my Resto Shaman, I had to use Lightning Bolt and just go crazy because I was just running out of mana too much. It's like, oops.
You weren't doing. That's all I can tell you.
I wasn't doing it right. I know that much because I picked up Resto Shaman for like a month and then I was done with it.
Just to get it out here again, even Ghostcrawler says the reason we've got Telluric Currents out there is so that we don't penalize Resto Shaman for trying to help out with the DPS. So it's not something that even Blizzard feels like is intended to have to be a master shaman. It's something for those people that, want to throw a little DPS out there. And what it does is it gives you mana back for your lightning bolts that you're throwing out.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Now, so on this cake, we have the Healing Rain.
Mm-hmm.
We have the what's the hot called again? It's the Riptide. Thank you. And then you throw on the single heals as kind of the next level of that, right? And meanwhile, I mean, Shaman are actually pretty mobile, especially when you add in the being able to cast on the move that button. What's that one called?
Spirit Walker's
Grace.
Yep, Spirit Grace.
Spirit Walker's Grace. Yeah, I know what they are. I just don't know the names of them, so I'm sorry.
Well, clearly you're not listening to their shows, Zug. I mean, then you would know. It's unbelievable. It's outrageous.
Yes, it is outrageous. So how do you feel that the playstyle is of the Shaman right now in Mists of Pandaria? Is it lots of long cast times? I mean, that's kind of why I don't like Shaman so much, is because of the longer cast times.
Yeah,
I'm more of a heal over time guy, so whatever. But are you still finding that to be the case, or how is the playstyle of the Shaman healer different from everybody else in healing?
we're a lot more mobile nowadays, especially if you play in the play style that I play, which I'm not saying is the way to play your shaman. You know, each shaman is going to have to look at the obstacles that it has to overcome and figure out the way that's best for them. So this is the way that works best for me, you know, and when I'm talking about that mobility, you know, we talked about Spirit Walker's Grace, which is great. You can throw that out and you can actually, you know, move, while you throw out your, heals with a cast time. On top of that, you've got Riptide, and if you do the glyph, you have no cooldown on Riptide, so you can use it as many times as you want. Now, I mean, you can run yourself out of mana doing this, but you can spread around Riptide. I'm still running, you know? I don't even have Spirit Walker's Grace on, but I'm still running. And then my healing stream totems, oh, well, you know, that's an instant cast as well, so I can throw that down anytime I'm running. Healing Tide totem, oh, that's another instance. I can throw that down while I'm running. You know, there's a lot of things I can throw while I'm running now. And with the new expansion and the raids that we've seen, mobility and raid awareness are so key.
Right. Right, they really are. It's tough for healers sometimes because you do have to be that mobile, and it's nice to see that Shaman are able to do that. Now, let's talk a little bit about stats for Shaman healers.
Sure.
What are the key stats that you are looking for?
I am, of course, trying to get intellect. I mean, that's what any caster is trying to get. Yep. Spirit comes next. I'm going to reforge or, you know, get my enchants as much as I can towards Spirit if I feel like that I'm running out of mana, which everyone is right now. We're at the beginning of the expansion. So Spirit is hugely high right now. And then you go to haste. You've got 2 breakpoints for haste. Just real quick, what it does is it gives you an extra tick on some of your spells, because, you know, it gives you more haste, so you're throwing them out there quicker. 871 is the first breakpoint for haste, and then 3764.
Oh, jeez.
It's the next.
That's a lot. And that's assuming that you have, the spell haste buff, right? With the raid. So, oof.
10% from the raid and then 5% from Ancestral Spirit. So, you know, hopefully you're using that. I'm sorry, Ancestral Swiftness. I think I might have been saying Ancestral Spirit. I meant Ancestral Swiftness. So, you know, you've got those. And then you're going to be looking at Mastery. I try to get Mastery to 50%. That's fine. I'm there. And then crit. I know it's crazy. You're like, wait a minute, crit. But I'm actually stacking crit right now because, like I said, you know, Shaman have a talent that where if you crit, it gives you some of your mana back. Right. So, you know, your crits are kind of important right now because we're running out of mana. I know a lot of Shaman, and I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong. I'm just going to tell you, you know, be aware of this. A lot of Shaman are trying to hit that haste breakpoint of 3764. It's, you can do it. But you're going to be giving up a lot of mastery and a lot of crit. Yeah. And you're going to be throwing out spells so much quicker that you're going to be losing mana that way as well. You're going to be bone dry, like, really quickly. So if you're having mana problems, look at your haste. You might want to back down to 871, which you'll never get to. You'll end up right around 2000 probably, even if you try to reforge away from all your haste.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed with the Druid is that I think the haste is just over 3,000 essentially what you need. And that's really easy to get to, but if you try for more, you're going to just, you're going to eat it, especially with Spirit. I mean, Spirit is just so key these days that
you have on each piece of your gear. If you don't have that right now, then I don't know, you're better than me.
Well, there you go. Now, do there seem to be, now that we've talked a little bit about stats, maybe we can talk a little bit about talents. Now, are there some certain talents that, I know that, you know, the new talent system is supposed to be like, hey, you know, you can pick what you want and be this free flower child in the talent section. But are there some talents that are specific for healers that you think are kind of a must grab or at least must pay attention to?
Sure. This is where you're really kind of deciding what kind of style of healer as a Resto Shaman you want to be. You know, we're very jack of all trades, masters of none. Well, we know we're masters of healing right now, so that really doesn't. So, you know, for myself, I'm in that third spot. I'm the oh crap button. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at getting things that help me out, keep my mana. That's one thing that I'm looking at. So On level 15, I'd skip Nature's Guardian. Don't do it. Tier 15, or Tier 1, level 15, skip Nature's Guardian. Don't do it. The other two, it's up to you, which is Stone Bulwark Totem and Astral Shift. That gives you a personal cooldown so that, you can save yourself if you don't have mana or if you're in that last 5% of a boss.
Okay.
Level 30, any of them are really situational. It depends on what you want to do. Frozen Power is going to kind of stun one person. Earth Grab Totem is going to stun a lot of people. And then Windwalk Totem is going to allow your raid to get out of being stunned. So it's kind of like, how do you want to work with that? So that's really up to you. I use Earth Grab Totem because sometimes my tanks lose a couple people and I got to slow them down.
Sure.
45. You've got really Totemic Restoration or Totemic Projection. Totemic Restoration, a lot of people say is a PvP-oriented talent. I have issues with that. It can really be useful in a raid environment where totems get destroyed or recalled using Totemic Recall. And if you glyph Totemic Recall, which is when you're pulling all your totems up at once, if you glyph Totemic Recall, it gives you the mana back from the totem that you threw out. So if I'm using Totemic Restoration and I'm pulling up my totems like, a half second before they naturally expire, then I'm getting my mana back from my totems, and then also it's lowering the cooldown on that totem that I pulled up. So I'm able to throw down my cooldowns even quicker.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. And it's that base tier of the cake that I'm talking about. It's really the crust of what I'm doing. I'm always going down totems, always pulling them back up.
This analogy is getting weird. That's all I'm saying. Okay, and then what about are there any other talents that we really need to pay attention to, or is it kind of a free-for-all with the later tiers?
Real quick, Ancestral Swift at level 60. That's probably the one you want to go towards. Healing Tide Totem at level 75. You have to have that. If you don't have that, you're not a Resto Shaman, in my opinion. And 90, you're going to be going back and forth between Unleashed Fury or Primal Elementalist. I usually stick at Primal Elementalist, but I think that's more because of my role in the raid that I'm in. I need a lot of cooldowns. I need a lot of mana. I need to be there when my healers fail, which, I'm raiding with Eid.
Sure. Right. Because when you're raiding with Eid, I mean, you need every tool in your arsenal, right?
You need to make up fishing pole son.
That's right. Now, guys, Colt, Solar Flare, you guys have any questions for Adobe?
I was wondering if there's any particular add-ons. Is he a Voodoo guy? Is he a Healbot guy? Is he a Blizzard default UI guy? What do you like?
Ooh. I am a Healbot guy, and I've stuck there for a little bit. A lot of people have tried to get me over to Voodoo. I tried setting it up a couple times, and I've used it a little bit. I think mainly for our podcast, I'm staying at Healbot now.
Oh yeah, just to prove that you can do it.
Into it. I do like Healbot. Healbot does have some advantages over Voodoo. I mean, there's not much. I'm not going to fault you if you go for Voodoo instead of Healbot. It just really depends, once again, on your style and the way you want to do it. The other one that I've picked up really recently has been Totem Timers. I've gone back to Totem Timers. I got rid of it in, I can't remember if that was Wrath or early Kata, but I got rid of Totem Timers at one point in time. But now, like I was saying, my style, I've really got to be conscious about how long my totems are staying out and when I need to pull them up. So Totem Timers is saving my butt right now.
That's good. You need every tool, like what we were talking about. Any other questions, Solar Flare? You got anything, or Coltrane again?
I really like Healing Rain. That's all I have to say about that.
Healing Rain, amazing.
It's just so pretty too, and it's just fun to look at. And whenever I'm standing in a Healing Rain, I just feel good. You get that ancestral vigor going on. I like my Healing Rain.
Sounds great too. It's got that white noise to it. You feel like you can just cuddle up and like go to sleep right now.
But there's a boss fight going on, so it's kind of weird. All right, go ahead, Colt.
I was just going to say one thing, and you brought this up at the top of when you first came on, is that it's so nice that for Resto Shamans, for every expansion, I think, as far back as we can remember, they've always been kind of the most underpowered healer at the top of an expansion. And going into Mists of Pandaria, I think we all assume the same thing. So it's really great that right out of the gate, Resto Shamans are doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really great.
It's Ellie as well. Elemental has really risen again. I've got this guy in our raid who's an amazing DPSer. His name is Tink, Tink Death. He's a Death Knight. And he is just badass, right? I bow down to him. I can outburst him in the first 15 seconds of a fight, and it makes him so angry.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Now, is there anything, let's maybe talk about glyphs real quick. Now, are there any particular glyphs that you think are a must grab for Resto Shaman? And, you know, I know that we've kind of covered this before, but maybe are there any new glyphs that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, Glyph of Riptide. You know, I brought that up earlier.
Right.
What it does is gets rid of that cooldown on your Riptide, so you can throw them out as much as you want. The cost, you know, the negative part of it is that I lose 90% of its initial heal. But the things that it gives me, the buffs as far as, you know, keeping it on the tank, we also have this buff that gives us a little bit more health to the person that we're healing as long as it's out. And Riptide is the gateway to that buff. So as the more buffs I can throw out, or the more Riptides that I can throw out, the more of that buff goes out.
Cool.
One is Water Shield. If you're having problems with your mana, of course, Water Shield. And it seems like it's reliably triggered, because if you can get hit 3 times, I think, or 2.63 times in 1 minute or whatever it is, then it's better than not having the Water Shield glyph. And it seems like if you're healing in Mogashan, you're going to be getting hit at least 3 times a minute.
Sure. And let's see, what other things can we talk about? How about other places to go for people to learn more about shaman healing? I know that we've kind of, you know, we've talked about it. We've scratched the surface here. And as far as other places where people might be able to get some, other than, of course, My Epic Heals, which I think everybody should be listening to. Maybe some websites. Are there particular websites that you go to for Resto Shaman healing?
Absolutely. You know, Elitist Jerks, they're great. Fantastic. I've been with them ever since I can remember, ever since I realized there was those resources out there, you know, so BC probably. They've always taken care of me. Binkenstein, who's on Twitter and then takes care of some of the Resto Shaman community. He's a really great resource. I love him. Life in Group 5 is great, which, you know, you can Google that and find their website. What else? Icy Veins has kicked ass this expansion.
They really have.
Everything they've done. Everything from top to bottom. So, you know, Icy Veins, give them a shout out.
Yep. icy-veins.com.
Yeah, they were strong out of the gate this time. It was really good.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, they came out with raid guides, class guides, everything, loot guides, what you name it. They kind of came out with it, and they've been really strong. So, grats to those guys for coming out so strong. I mean, it's been amazing. Anything else?
One other resource, and I just wanted to bring this up. You know, I used to go to TankSpot, but some new guy that does their videos. I don't know what the deal is.
His name is
who
like
that could be.
Solar Bear. I can't remember it.
He's a druid. Solar Bear.
Solar Bear.
Is a really great resource, not only for their videos but their forums. The forums at TankSpot. Sometimes I'll find like a really, really specific question that I have about a Resto Shaman, and when I search it on Google, usually it brings me to the TankSpot forums because they're talking about it first. So I get a lot of my breaking news as far as, is this broken or is this working right? Does Blizzard intend this? TankSpot seems to be the place that I get a lot of that information.
Sure. And anything else about the shaman that you want to bring up on this show? I mean, I know that we're kind of running late here today, and I apologize for not bringing you in till later in the show. But is there anything else that you want to bring up about shaman healing, especially? We're
better than you.
All right, wow. And with that, we got to go. But seriously, Adobe, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I encourage everybody to listen to My Epic Heels. It's a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. You can find it at signalsmedia.com, myepicheels.com. You can find it on iTunes as well. You know, it's really easy to find. And if you're a healer of any type, I would suggest going there because I think you guys do a really great show over there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you know, I do what I can. But thank you, Adobe. A little applause for you.
Thanks, Adobe.
A little big applause for you. And we will be talking to you as we move forward in the future, I'm sure.
Sweet, sweet. Catch me on Adobe Aid on Twitter.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Awesome. Thank you, sir. And I'm going to hang up on you now. Oh, and by the way, take care, everybody in New York and the East Coast. Once again, you can go to redcross.org and help out there by donating. Please do it. Yeah, there we go. All right. Awesome job, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. We will see you later. There we go. Okay, cool. He's a great guy. He really is.
All right.
He really is. Okay, I know that we're going to be running late here. I do want to go to leading the raid, and then I think that's going to be it. Because we have to correct ourselves. We have to.
Yes,
update.
we do.
We have to update ourselves for the leading the raid.
We got to update.
So there we go. All right, here we go.
Leading the raid.
Each and every show, we take a look into leadership issues for a raid